Well, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us today for our webinar, Registering a Trademark in the U.S. My name is Lou, and I'm the Marketing Manager here at Inovia. So on the agenda today, this is what it's going to look like. We're going to start with Trademarks 101, followed by Costs to register your trademark in the U.S. Then we're going to go over to our site, and we're going to give just a quick demo of what our trademark search and registration tool looks like. And at the end, we'll have a Q&A session. So if you have any questions throughout this webinar, you can just plug those into the chat or the question window, and we'll get to them at the end. So as an introduction, I'd like to introduce Inovia's Senior Patent Attorney, Jeff Shieh. Jeff received his bachelor's degree in biology from the University of Pennsylvania, and he received his JD from Boston University. Jeff has over 10 years of patent experience and heads up Inovia's Small Business Solutions team to address the unique concerns of inventors, startups, and small businesses seeking international patent protection. Inovia.com is a global instruction platform created to simplify the process for PCT national stage entry, direct filings, and European validation. The platform allows users to get a quick and accurate one-click quote and place and track orders online. Inovia also offers a trademark search service, allowing you to search over 7 million U.S. trademarks for free. Our knockout search will return only the most relevant trademarks in the most relevant classes, so you can make sense of what's out there. In 2012, Inovia was ranked #1 in the United States and #2 in the world in PCT national stage filings by Managing IP magazine. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Jeff for registering a trademark in the U.S.
Great. Good morning, everyone. I'd also like to thank everyone for joining today's webinar. Here at Inovia, as Lou mentioned earlier, we've specialized in foreign patent filings and translations for the past 11 years. But what many clients may not realize is that we also offer a U.S. trademark search and registration service. For today's webinar, I'll be covering what you need to do to register a trademark with the USPTO. So what is a trademark exactly? A trademark is a word, phrase, logo, color, sound, or smell that is legally registered to distinguish the goods and services of one company to those of others. A trademark conveys many benefits, ranging from helping the consumer avoid purchasing inferior goods and knockoffs to protecting a company's reputation. You need to consider your company trademark as important as any tangible asset and therefore protect it as such. For example, a recent article estimated that the Google trademark alone, basically just the word Google in those different colors that you see on your computer screen, is worth over $44 billion. So each trademark, when you register, or when it gets registered, is limited by the class or classes that the applicant designated when the mark was registered. When you register a mark, your mark does not confer blanket protection against its use. There are 45 trademark classes at the USPTO, and you need to designate which classes your trademark will cover when you apply for your trademark. This part of the registration process can be a bit tricky, but our website allows you to search and explore the 45 different classes so you can arrive at the classes that are most appropriate for your business. So what sort of marks can be registered? Typically, in order to be trademarked, it should 1, not be similar to a mark already in use, and 2, not be descriptive of your goods or services. Our website offers a trademark knockout tool which searches the federal database for marks that may be similar to the one that you're interested in registering, and lets you know if your desired mark may run into any potential roadblocks. To protect your trademark, we recommend registering your mark with the USPTO. Doing so confers the following benefits. First, you will have an exclusive legal right to use your trademark for your goods and services. Second, you can stop others from using your brand and damaging your company's good name. Next, your registered trademark becomes a more tangible business asset that can be sold or licensed. Additionally, you are also entitled to use the registered trademark symbol to designate your mark. Registration of your mark with the USPTO also establishes a priority date which you can use in international trademark registrations. Like patents, trademarks are enforceable only in the country in which they're registered, so a U.S. trademark will have zero effect in any other country. A registered trademark has an initial lifespan of 10 years, which can be renewed indefinitely. Like patents, there are requirements for trademark registration, and certain marks will be tough or impossible to register. A few examples of difficult marks to register include trademarks that are identical or similar to earlier filed marks for similar goods or services. Next, descriptive terms are difficult to register. Common surnames and geographical locations. Words or phrases that favorably promote your goods or services. Words or common phrases that are used in the trade. Marks that can be considered scandalous or misleading. And last, certain marks are actually protected by law and cannot be registered. Example of a mark here in this category is the word Olympic or Olympics, which is protected by U.S. statute in America. So once you've decided upon a mark you wish to register, you need to decide what class or classes you want your mark to cover. It's important that the classes accurately cover the goods or services you want to that your business offers, or else the USPTO will likely reject your application. So what we're looking at here, we're going to go just take a quick look at a quick overview of the registration process in the USPTO. As you can see on your screen, we have a timeline of the application and registration process. We start things off on the left by filing the application and paying the application fee. Again, that application fee will be dependent on the number of classes that you want your trademark to be registered for. The application is then examined by the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office. An examiner is assigned to your application, and the examiner will look for issues that would prevent the trademark from being registered. If the mark satisfies all requirements, then it will be published in the official gazette. Otherwise, the examiner will issue an office action, allowing the applicant the opportunity to respond. Hopefully, the applicant can overcome the rejections in the office action, and the application will then move on to the publication stage. Once the mark is published, there is a 30-day opposition period, during which time anyone who believes that they can be harmed by the mark's registration can file an objection with the Trademark Trial and Appeal Board. If no objection is lodged, or if an objection is lodged and the applicant is able to overcome the objection, then the USPTO issues a notice of acceptance. So just a little clarification of the timeline here. You see here that the opposition period, it indicates that it's 3 months in duration. In truth, the opposition period is actually 30 days from publication, but in the timeline here, we're estimating the entire time from publication to notice of acceptance, and that is about 3 months. After the notice of acceptance is issued, the applicant will need to file a statement of use within 6 months from the notice of acceptance date. A statement of use is just a declaration ensuring that the applicant is indeed using the mark in his or her line of business. If everything is in order at this time, the USPTO will then register the mark, and this usually occurs about 2 months after the statement of use is submitted. Once registered, you'll be free to use the mark in your line of business. All you need to do now to maintain the mark is to renew it every 2 years, is renew it every 10 years and pay the appropriate fees. Next, we're going to answer the question that's probably on everyone's mind. How much does this all cost? Basically, as I mentioned earlier, fees are based on a per-class basis. As I mentioned earlier, you need to designate which class or classes you want your mark to cover. If you're seeking broader protection, that obviously means more classes and therefore higher fees. Currently, the USPTO charges $325 for every class selected. And through our trademark search and registration service, Inovia charges a flat fee of $155 for each class that you want to register. When you're looking into trademark registration, you should ask your attorney or provider the following questions. First, what is your service fee for preparing and filing the application? Second, what is your service fee for registering the trademark, meaning how much do they charge for going through the registration step once once examination has concluded. Third, you need to ask, do your fees include government filing fees? In order to do an apples-to-apples comparison of service providers, you need to know whether their estimates include those official fees that go directly to the government. Fourth, do you manage the application through to registration? You need to ask yourself if you want to handle the examination process yourself and prepare responses to office actions, or do you want a trademark attorney to guide you along the way? On the Inovia webpage, our trademark knockout search tool is free to use. Again, the USPTO charges $325 for every class selected, and this fee would be the same no matter what attorney or provider you decide to go with. When you're ready to proceed with filing, you can place your order directly through the website. And again, Inovia charges just a flat service fee of $155 for every class you designate. Now we're going to move away from the slideshow for the next part of the webinar, and we're going to go ahead and give a brief demo of the Inovia trademark engine. So here we're looking at the home page. If you just go to the Services tab and go down to Trademarks, that's going to take you to the trademark search engine. So just as an example, we're going to go ahead and do a quick search for Inovia. So we're going to type in the word that we would like to protect as Inovia. And then down on this second window, we're going to narrow the search by entering legal services as the category of classes we want to look for trademarks in. When click Begin Search. And what our system is doing now, it's going through the U.S. trademark database. And as you can see here, it has pulled up a list of suggested classes that fall under that legal services term, that phrase that we used earlier. So we're going to go ahead and select the first category, just plain old legal services. And you can see it pulls it over into the right-hand side for the next part of the search. We're going to go ahead and click on the search button here. And now we're going through the USPTO database for registered trademarks that are similar to or identical to Inovia. As you can see here, our system has found the Inovia trademark, which has been federally registered. The search indicates that the mark Inovia is federally registered in classes 9 and 5. And by clicking on this hyperlink here, you can view the Inovia registration information directly from the USPTO website. A little bit down below here, you'll see that our engine will also recommend other similar marks that you may want to run searches on. If there are no similar marks found, this box would be empty, and you could proceed with registration by following the link down at the bottom of the page. You also have the opportunity to run an advanced search if you want to get a little bit more information or to narrow down the details of the search that you're conducting. Once you click the register button, you'll be taken to a follow-up screen where you just need to fill in some additional information. So to sum up, if you're interested in registering your trademark, please feel free to explore our website and especially our trademark search tool. We also invite you to play around with that tool to see if there are any similar marks already registered to the USPTO and compare it to the marks that you're interested in registering for. We also have a trademark FAQ on the site, and we're always available to answer any questions that you may have. That's going to conclude my presentation for today. We're going to go ahead and bring Lou back in now. I do believe we do have some time to answer some questions that you have submitted for us.
Thanks, Jeff. Yeah, we do have a few questions that came in, so we're going to get right to those. To start us off, one person asks, do I have to register my trademark?
So the answer to that question is no. You can obviously use your mark through your line of business without federally registering it with the USPTO. Obviously, during the presentation, I went through the benefits that you do get, but you are able to get trademark protection just by showing that you've been using it in your business and establishing use of that mark through just normal business routines. Obviously, by registering federally, you're kind of publicizing it to the entire world, or at least to anyone who searches on the site, that is indeed a federally registered trademark, and there are, again, benefits for doing so. So even though it's not required in order for you to use your mark in your line of business, that's something we certainly recommend.
Okay, and we have another question. Do I need to use a trademark attorney to register? So I think, in other words, do we need to involve an attorney at all with this process?
Okay, yeah. So again, the answer to that question also is no. As you can see through our website, we are able to, or you're able to go directly through and run a search, a knockout search for your proposed mark. And if nothing comes up, if there are no registered marks already or similar marks already registered, you can just proceed directly through our online tool to apply and register or begin the registration process for your mark. Obviously, having a trademark attorney can help, but generally speaking, most trademark office actions trademark examination is fairly straightforward. It's not as technical or as kind of nuanced as patent applications or prosecution. Trademark, they're going to come back and say it is similar to this trademark that's been already filed, and you then respond saying no, it's not, because of these reasons. So that's usually typically something that a lay person can handle. Obviously, if it's a little bit more complicated, or if you really do feel strongly about having a patent attorney involved at this stage, by all means use one. But in terms of the application and registration process, typically we find that it's not required, or it's not essential that you use a trademark attorney through that process.
Okay, and I think we have time for one more question, and I think this is a question we get often here in our patent filing world. What does it mean to have a priority date for your trademark?
Okay, so as I mentioned earlier, when you file for a federal trademark with the USPTO, that filing date establishes what we refer to as your priority date, and that means obviously at that date, that's when it is on file as this is the date that I had registered, or I had applied for registration for my trademark. What the benefits of that is then if anyone else comes in subsequently and tries to contest your mark, or they file an application for a similar mark after your application was originally filed, you can go back and say, look, I have a priority date X, which is earlier than my competitor's priority date Y, and what you can do with that earlier priority date is obviously contest the mark, say that you have priority of any marks that get filed afterwards, and it usually makes obviously litigation and contesting the mark much more simple because you have a cut and dry established priority date for your application.
Okay, well, I think that's going to wrap it up. Up on your screen you can see we have a few resources available to you. Firstly is our blog, info.inovia.com. We have a lot of good resources on trademarks there. Of course, you can follow us on Twitter, and we also have a guide to registering your trademark in the U.S. That's a PDF that we have on our site. So if you go to www.inovia.com, go to the resources page, or go to the trademarks section of our services page, you can find that there. And if you have any other questions that we didn't get to and you want to contact Jeff directly, his information is up there on the screen as well. I do also want to mention we host a number of monthly webinars. This one's specifically targeted at trademarks, but we also have one coming up next week. It's called International Patenting Strategies 101, and this is for the solo inventor or the small business that is considering filing their patent internationally. So that's inovia.com/webinars if you want to sign up for any of those programs. So I want to thank you all for joining us today, and hopefully we'll see you again next time.
Great, thank you.